IVM.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's session of Know Your Kanun. This is Amber from AM Rana Ventures, and today's topic is pretty interesting. This is something related to the virtual world, I would say, and that is sexual harassment when you are doing work from home for your company or agency. Now, many of us, or I would say most of us, are working from home on a daily basis since the pandemic has set in. And this is the new norm of what a workplace would look like in coming future in certain areas of profession, I would say, or work field. Now, in those areas, what does sexual harassment team up to be, or what does sexual harassment look like? Does it apply to your workplace? Does it apply to your office space? Does it apply to wherever you're working from? Especially in a situation where you're on a work from home situation. So the normal policies of POSH that we look at, do they extend to our house or to our home as well? And what would be the safeguards and the protection and precautions needed in order for one to alternate, first of all, their company policies. Secondly, in order to safeguard employees, and from an employee perspective, to realizing what type of behavior is tolerable, what is not tolerable in terms of a professional behavior. Now, let's look at what this would mean in today's context. Right, I'll start with the definition of the word harassment. So the definition of the word harassment just does not particularly mean sexual overtones. It also includes, and it means any act by a coworker, right, which makes the workspace, including virtual workspace, uncomfortable for the employee in question, whether it is by language, by reference to religion, by reference to caste, regional differences, language, and behavior which is not only limited to such discrimination, but beyond that. The virtual distance that we see between us and our employees cannot be a deterring factor that it would not be covered under the Act, or that we are not entitled to file a complaint under the Act. If you look at the Act, the workplace interpretation would extend to, departments, organization, establishment, and they extend to any such place where you are normally performing your duty. Thus, in case wherever you are acting on behalf of your workforce or on behalf of your office, that place would also fall in within the definition of workplace. So the employer-centric definition which we have of a workplace related to our office is not restricted there. For all the listeners out there, it extends to your home as well. Now, what do we need to do in that? First and foremost, applicability. People ask this question all the time when I'm training corporates, that where does it apply? Well, it applies to incidents of harassment at home outrightly, out clearly. They are not confined to spaces of a cubicle. Right? That is there. Secondly, modifying of internal complaints committee and their guidelines and POSH policies. That is the second most important thing. As an employee, you can raise this point currently in your scenario by saying that these policies are not up to date in case you feel there's a deficiency, and get them in line with the current POSH policies to extend them to a virtual space as well. Apart from the provisions of the POSH Act that I talk about, acts of inappropriate behavior, which would amount to harassment, will and can also attract provisions of the IT Act. So let's say there is a very particular scenario before you where you were sitting having a conversation with one of your employees, and the employees just in the regular affair of duties played a song which was indecent, made an action which was indecent, touched himself indecently, or in a manner which is not appropriate before a camera, then in those circumstances, it would tantamount to harassment under the IT Act as well. So apart from just your POSH policy, the game here falls under the IT Act because you're using a web platform. So for all those people out there who are looking for sexual harassment prevention, IT Act is also there to help you in the COVID-19 scenario. There are also precedents on this which have been put up and out there. which extend the Vishaka guidelines of prevention of sexual harassment, right, to the virtual space as well. Important case of Delhi High Court that I have read and seen is Saurabh Kumar Malik versus Comptroller and Auditor General of India, right? This was a case where the pretty simple scenario which came before was the expression of the term workplace, right? It said that, a narrow and a pedantic approach cannot be taken in defining the workplace by confining the meaning to commonly used expression office, that is a place where the person of the public could have access. So what this specifically means that the law tried to say, well, workplace can extend beyond. And in terms of Vishaka judgment, what they were trying to say was, even though Vishaka case was one about a rape that took place of, a woman not in a confined space, but outside somewhere. But that place was also taken into the law as interpretive of being a workplace. Do you now go about, let's say, dealing with an issue where an incident is reported? Right? Let's say you're stuck into a situation where such an incident has happened, or if it's being reported, what do you do about it? Right? Does the onus with respect to monitoring and reporting the said behavior lies with the employee as well, and the employer, of course, but I'll stress on the employee because the employee is generally a victim, and so are the co-workers along with the employee who directly faces it. So all employees, rather I would say, as part of the company policy, should be encouraged to report any incidents of harassment at virtual workplace to the HR or the internal complaints committee. There are so many instances where the victim, or the employee may feel helpless to bring forward the issues which they might have faced, right? So system of checks and balances has to be in order. Managers specifically in company who are employees, bosses, or managers being employed themselves, who monitor these meetings, digital communications, and are privy to such conversations of the co-workers, should be more vigilant and proactive, I would rather say, and so should be the team members, right? Any action that puts a co-worker, let's say in a managerial team, in an uncomfortable position, particularly because of family obligations or the gender, would definitely tantamount to sexual harassment as well. So please be very mindful of that, right? You should, all managers out there, or people in senior positions, should give extra care to know, to note and observe the conduct of every employee, and to report any ordinary behavior which is out, or which is not clearly in line with your policies, right? This can also lead to, and I'll lead the monitoring points, this will also lead to lack of interest in work or interaction with workers. So any behavior which you feel is not in line with your standards of the company that you've maintained for work from home, please monitor those, because you will find instances where employees would be desisting to get on a call, would not be interested, not available. All right. There would be a lack of interest in interaction. So keep these pointers in mind when you're doing with that. Right. The company also has to maintain an open door policy regarding any grievances and complaints. All the protocols that are followed and observed during regular working days in the office should be followed also during your work from home scenario too. All employees should be encouraged, I'll again reiterate, to approach the HR in the event of an untoward incident. There should be no deviance from standard operation procedures owing to COVID-19 by saying that currently in this scenario it is not available. Right? So work from home is the new normal, and all of these have to play. Another important point: in case the complaint has been brought to the attention of the HR, online interviews can be conducted. That maintains your privacy as well. The confidentiality of the victim statements and evidence should be maintained at all important period of times. All statements can be signed off virtually, we know that. All evidence that one provides of such an incident can be collated and filed using an online medium. All processes that would be followed should be followed without any lacuna or gaps in any manner that would affect the victim's case. So employees, as much as the employer, should be aware of all of these. Both the parties should be given a fair and unbiased forum to present their case, right? How do you accumulate? Now I'll come to the point. How do you accumulate evidence? Pretty much simple. Take snapshots of your screen,
any WhatsApp messages, any group discussion that has happened, whether audio or video, where that particular word has been said, you are bound to record that. There is an app called Screen Rec, which you can use. I'm not saying that this is the correct way to go about it, but just to keep yourself safe, use this app called Screen Rec. It will help you record the proceedings on your screen. So any such words being said, and where the medium is locked, where you cannot record it, you can always run the Screen Rec app to help you out there. This is not a legally prescribed thing that I'm mentioning, but this is one of the preventive measures you can use on your desktop. Right? All women employees, I again reiterate, during work from home are encouraged to file complaints through SheBox, if not through their officially HR or internal complaints committee. It is a very simple initiative. In all my sexual harassment lectures, I've said this, that SheBox is the initiative by government, by Ministry of Child and Welfare. It is an effort by the government of India to provide a single window access to every woman, irrespective of the work status. Whether you're working in an organized, unorganized, private, public sector, this particular medium will record your case of harassment. This information is directly sent to the concerned authority once you lodge a complaint, and who has the jurisdiction in this matter to deal with, right? So on that note, I would say, awareness, sensitization, work from home, three things that go together. Work from home is the new norm. All employees should know when work from home, is happening or taking place, whether through a video conferencing, audio conferencing, whatever it is, that they know their rights that are there in place. Now, apart from theory, I like to break down some questions that I generally face, when I'm taking these sessions on sexual harassment with companies and their senior board members. And these are some of FAQs I like to answer again, so that you are aware of them and how do you approach them. So first and foremost, I like to take up here that has come to me is, does the POSH Act recognize work from home? Officially, there is no written thing on the same, but yes, it does. Again, I'll reiterate what I've been reiterating throughout the episode. The workplace doesn't necessarily mean physical space of an office. It will cover everything, and your home becomes the extension of this. What forms of non-physical actions are considered sexual harassment? Such a common question. Any kind of demand of sexual favors, showing of pornography, I say, any other unwelcome physical non-verbal conduct with sexual overtones, they all usually fall under the definition of sexual harassment in a normal scenario. But what about work from home? In terms of work from home, I'll tell you what all would be, a sexual harassment. A person making sexually colored remarks while on call and messages. Person who completely is undressed, not appropriately dressed during a video call. A person who's repeatedly calling you despite the professional business being closed on that call or on the video platform. Sending lewd forwards and videos and messages on a group. Touching himself unintendedly or intendedly, inappropriately, or in a manner that makes you uncomfortable being part of that call, right? Another example, pretty simple question that is asked to me is, my colleague, I would say, and my colleague, fellow employee, or my manager is trying to flirt with me in this current space that I face today. Does this tantamount to sexual harassment? Well, any act of, whatever it is, flirting, trying to approach the other gender, trying to interact with them, can make that person uncomfortable. If you can sense that there is a discomfort which is being exercised, then this is an unwelcome behavior. It will constitute a sexual harassment. However, if this kind of flirting is consensual, it is not considered sexual harassment. But I always say, when in doubt, never act. Always opt out of such a situation that makes you uncomfortable in a professional space, whether it is the person who wants to flirt or person who is at the receiving end of such behavior. Please opt out of that and take necessary recourse. Now, what would be the recourse if someone is facing sexual harassment in work from home? Right? I have again said this. This is a very common question that I get in my trainings, and this is one of the FAQs I'm sharing with you when I did a recent workshop with Nivea Group, and they asked me this: that what should I do if I'm, facing this harassment? Well, before filing the complaint, take as many screenshots and record as many conversations as possible with you, right? The women employee must then specifically approach the internal complaints committee or your local complaints committee, which is there, right? Then a notice is sent to you within a period of 7 days on receipt of complaint. An inquiry has to be completed within 90 days, and the orders of that inquiry have to be implemented within a period of 60 days. Failing to all of this, what can you do? You can file a zero FIR. You can approach the court of law at any point of time. A zero FIR is nothing but an FIR which can be filed from any portion of India without disclosing your identity. Or you can approach a lawyer to file an FIR on behalf of you. Whatever be the medium, this is a process of following and filing, a redressal, I would say, application in case your organization is not equipped or taking cognizance of whatever you're providing them in terms of complaint content. You're free to do that. Always approach the court when you feel your organization is not acting. What is the role, I would say, of our internal complaints committee? Let's take it in that perspective, right? It is as simple as that. The internal complaints committee would enact or perform the roles of a civil court. I'm using in literal sense, not in absolute sense. The main purpose of it is to conduct a hearing which is not impartial, it is fair, equal representation, all other matters are followed in this, right? People, now this is another question I like to put. Some people do ask me, I don't even know where my ICC guidelines are. Well, this is a question you need to ask your employer. The ICC guidelines need to be made easily available to all employees at a click's distance away, I would say, in case of virtual scenarios, but it should be in policy, in printed, kept with the HR or any other such member in the office at all times, right? The option of FIR, which I spoke about, is the one where you need to go there once there is no option left to deal with any of these situations, right? So take the FIR option as the last, I would say. But in case where you feel initially you cannot deal with all of these regulations that I've spoken about, then please do approach the FIR. What if your FIR is not registered? Another question that I keep getting. Approach the magistrate directly. There is a section of 154 in CRPC under which the magistrate will take cognizance of your complaint upon refusal of police to file the same. So please do that, right? Time limitation of filing complaint. In case it is with the internal complaints committee, it has to be within a period of 3 months from the date of incident, right? In case it involves a series of incidents, then the most recent incident is to be reported. This can also be extended. You can always seek an extension for filing of complaint by another period of 3 months if there are circumstances that do not let you go beyond that, right? Now, question number, I would say, umpteenth, the most important one. How does the ICC hold proceedings during this pandemic? Different people, different views, different takes. What will happen? That is there during a work from home provision, right? ICC will hold meetings online, right? They will take permission from all parties, from everybody involved, to make recordings of the session where the respondent and the accused both are sitting, right? A copy, or I would say a second copy of that particular recording is emailed to both the individuals, which is the complainant and respondent, right? And a signed acknowledgement is sought from them. In general physical sense or in regular scenario, this is generally what happens in a proceeding. So all of that will be emulated, all of that will be copied on a digital platform as well, and there would be no change in that format. I've been part of some ICC proceedings, right, as an external member. Generally what happens is you have the complainant, you have the respondent, right? Individually they are recorded on their statements. While they are recorded, there's a camera in place or permission is taken for an audio recording. So all of that is in place. It will be emulated over the work from home scenario in this case as well. Remedies during work from home in case sexual harassment happens and it has to be avoided? Well, the employee can be terminated. So be careful during lockdown. Any case situation is grim. Do not do any such act, right? You can be granted leave. The aggrieved person can be granted leave for a period of up to 3 months, right? You will also get a restraint order or an order saying that the accused or the person who's guilty will not get in touch with you pretty often. There could be salary cut, there could be appraisal cut, but it all depends on recommendation of ICC. What if you're not happy with these recommendations of ICC? In case you're not happy with recommendations of these ICC, you will then reach out to the courts, right? And the appeal is allowable from such an outcome of the Internal Complaints Committee. Right. With that, we conclude today's topic on sexual harassment from work from home. Any questions and queries, please do write into us on contact@amranaventures.com. We'll be happy to help you out and guide you on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Know Your Kanun. Catch Know Your Kanun on the IVM website or the app or anywhere you get your podcast from.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Intel, for supporting us. Great week on the network. If you haven't been listening, why haven't you been listening? You should be listening. Rohan Joshi was on Uncle Please Sit, discussed the toxicity of the Indian pop culture. Really fun conversation to listen to. Rajiv Samant, the founder of Sula Wines, was on Cyrus Says. Again, I think that was a fun conversation. Also want to call out the season finale of Yuddha. Yuddha is our military history podcast. Definitely do check that out. It's a really great listen. And finally, I want to just remind you all that, it's a dark time, but if you need a smile, go check out the Smile India podcast by Shifa Mehta. It's in both English and Hindi, and I think that you will really enjoy the kinds of things that she's talking about there. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey, available on the IVM Podcast, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.